evangelist and Brewer Group CEO Jack Brewer joins us now. Jack, good morning. I want to get your thoughts on what we saw, yet another instance of these protests at Supreme Court justices' homes, and yet it seems the White House and Democrats are uninterested in even weighing in on it.
It really is disgusting. I mean, you see these images and, the optics of this. I have children. I mean, think about your children seeing these type of dark situations. And at some point in our nation, we have to divide ourselves from the politics of this. This is not about the politics. I mean, for people to be now brave enough and bold enough to go out there and threaten the lives of Supreme Court justices. When I grew up, these are people that you looked up to no matter which side of the aisle that you're on. You honored them as Americans. And now we have a Democratic Party that will say nothing, that will actually even vote against them being able to be protected like you would already assume that they were being protected. And so this is a dark, dark day in America. And I think at some point we got to put the politics aside and really start talking about where we are spiritually as a country and what we want to align with. And this is just absolutely disgusting.
Point taken, Jack, but look at our latest Fox News poll, and it looks like politics is exactly where the divide is. Over half of Americans disagree with protesting outside of the Supreme Court justices' homes, but a majority of Democrats say they support the protest. However, when it turns dangerous and potentially deadly, as we saw with Justice Roberts' incident, that is very, very concerning because it is political extremism, political violence being motivated. Interestingly, a Wall Street Journal columnist, Kimberly Strassel, writing that there's some hypocrisy here in that the J6 committee is talking about political violence, but yet when it comes to the Chief Justice's home, it's not being covered the same way. Hypocrisy?
Hypocrisy 100%. They've sold their soul. They will do anything to be able to raise money. And so these issues, even if they don't really agree with them, if they know that their political base supports them, they will stay on that side. This is absolutely ridiculous. And the points that you made is a prime example of that. They can't hide from the reality that they talk out of both sides of their mouths. And you see it every day, particularly with this new liberal push to accept anything as long as your base feels that it's important. The extreme portion of your base, the AOCs of the world, feel that it's okay and acceptable. And so you can't sit on both sides. We can't live in a gray in America anymore. We have to draw a line in the sand and pick righteousness over sin. And if we're not willing to do that, then you're going to continue to see the horrible things that are happening right now on our streets. I mean, I gotta admit, I never imagined that the greatest country on earth would be so accepting to so much chaos. It's got to come to an end.
All right, Jack, I got to ask you about this. The world's governing body for swimming, FINA, passed a new gender inclusion policy. Transgender swimmers in elite international events. We'll show you here. The policy says transgender swimmers in women's sports must have transitioned before age 12. Transgender men are able to compete in men's competitions with some exceptions. And finally, the organization is researching a new policy to have open competitions for all genders. What say you?
I am so happy to see the international community push back against this demonic I don't know if we're hypnotized or what we're doing here in the United States of America, because most of these things are being pushed by the U.S. It's the NCAA. It's our major sports organizations that are allowing this transgenderism to destroy women's sports. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So I applaud FINA and the entire international community. And I hope that the Olympic Committee will wake up and do the same thing, because, at some point you can't destroy the hopes and dreams of all these young women who have worked their entire lives to be able to accomplish what they have in sports. I couldn't imagine being a professional athlete and then having another sex be able to come into my sport and take it over. I mean, the fact that we even have to have this conversation shows you where we are as a nation. But I'm so happy to see the international community push back against this. Most countries, most places on earth understand that you have two genders, a man and a woman, and they shouldn't be competing against each other and being called equal. And so, I mean, the fact that we even have to say this tells you about the times that we live, which are similar to Sodom and Gomorrah. And I just pray for this nation that we can wake up and really find our place in God's order.
And finally, Jack, I want to ask you, yesterday, Juneteenth, the oldest celebration that marks slavery's end in the United States, you have some thoughts on it?
Yes, I do. And it's a joyous time. I'm glad we get to end on this. I just got a message for America to remember how many people fought and died to end slavery. White, black, all races came together to destroy that evil that was plaguing our land, and this is the time that we celebrate that. I grew up in Texas. I'm a great-grandson of sharecroppers, and so I grew up every year celebrating this holiday. I know for some this is new, but for my family it's not, and for so many throughout our country. And so this is a time to understand and reflect back on what's so good about America and some of the times that we've led the world in demonstrating that we are the United States and can come together as one nation under God. And so it's a joyous day.
And it is a federal holiday marking Juneteenth today. Jack Brewer, well said. Thank you, sir, for getting up early and joining us.
God bless you, brother.
All right, you too, my friend.